Welcome back to McCarthy Performance. This video will be pretty much about putting this BHJ fixture on the Hemi and what I did to use this plate on the Gen 3 Hemi. Okay, so we got this plate trued up a little bit. Found the center line of it. I'm going to bore a hole in it here, here, and then this one here will have to be dead on the money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step drill these holes, and I'm not going to try to hog them out. I don't want the table to jump. And it's going to be linear, so I'm hoping that when I drill this hole, and this hole, they'll be all on a relative plane as being true to each other. So we're going to take her slow. I don't have a jig bore, but this Bridgeport isn't beat up too bad, and I think if I don't force it, I think I'll be able to get it pretty close. This, where I'm going to put a locating pin, I will have some adjustability. So if I have, I'm going to check this. If I have any run out, this is where I'm going to take it out. This hole to this hole, I'd like them to be on the same center line, but if this hole is down or up, a thousandths is going to matter as long as this hole to this hole and that hole are all on the same angle. So if this is 2 thousandths off, this is where I'm going to have to take it up, because it's going to pivot on this pin here. And I'll explain maybe more of that later, but we're going to start boring holes. Okay, I'm using an old worn out center drill. I know there's spring loaded tap starters you can buy, but that's just a wore out center drill. And I moved the table up when I drilled this hole. I didn't want any deflection in the quill. Once this is started, it should tap a fairly straight hole. I'm trying to keep everything so the table isn't twisting on the gibs. So I'm trying to make everything as true as I can with this. Then I'll verify everything on V-blocks and the dial indicator. This will be my centering up part, and I'm going to put a little bit of adjustability in there, so if I have to true all this in, I can move it, and then I'll Loctite it, and then it'll be that way, permanently. So that's tapped out. And I'll bore the hole in the back for the locating bar, pick up center, and step drill that all the way up to under 2 inch. Then I'll hone it on the rod machine. I was talking about the ways on the machine, and I said gibs. The gibs adjust the ways, but I'm bringing the knee up to the head. So I'm hopefully cutting down on any deflection. I suspect I will see some of it. I'm carefully step drill, and then I use my end mills to a certain point, and now I'm getting into my end mills, so I'm going to go up as big as I can with my end mills. Okay, we've got everything pretty much to the point where I'm going to hone it now. I'm going to hone this out to a very tight fit. I got a fair amount to take out. So here's the fixture, and this is bored very tight, like I said before, and this is, you have to tap that in there, so everything's really tight. I've got a precision block here, and this is 2-inch, so these are both 1-inch. So I have a precision block here and here with a precision ground straight edge, if you will, and then I've got a precision block on this side and up here. So everything is dead square. I've got a clamp pulling on it. I've got this clamp down to the spacer bar. And this, I've just got a little preload on it right now for the Loctite. I Loctited the stud in. I made this stud, not that that's a big deal, but I took a bolt and I threaded it, cut the head off of it, and threaded it. So I could have the exact length I wanted. And it's a weekend on a Sunday, so there's no studs to be found around here in 5/8. So I turn this, and this is very tight on the bar. It's very tight in here. It's moving the blocks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this with JB Weld, and I'm going to pot this in there, and I'm going to move it around. I'm going to put my nut back on here with my spacer and let it cook overnight. And I believe that will be pretty damn square and true. So that's how I did it. Making this 100% perfect and worrying about being dead on center. I don't have to worry about that. And there's just a little bit of friction on that, so there's no wiggle room, zero. I doubt if you could get a thousandths feeler gauge anywhere in here. So that's plenty close enough. That's what I did. Okay, so before I get to putting the JB Weld in this collar that I made that's a little looser, decided to put an O-ring on it. Gotta try to keep the JB Weld from migrating outward. I'm going to apply pressure once this centers up. The O-ring doesn't affect the centering blocks. I've got a little bit of a load on here. Everything's tight now. I checked everything. It was a little loose here. It's not loose anymore. And this is the blocks are actually, there is friction on them. So it's pretty much as good as it's ever going to be. So we'll get to gluing it in there. Yeehaw. We'll see how that goes. Try to keep it from being too big of a mess. But okay, I'm going to put some tape on the threads to keep the JB Weld from getting on the threads. We don't want any JB Weld on the threads. And my Loctite obviously hasn't set up on my stud yet. So we want to be able to do all that at once. Put a load on it. Let it sit overnight. Hopefully that'll be that. Okay. So I got my O-ring down here. want to be right there with that. Okay, here we go. Turned it. That'll make the nicks and stuff will make the JB weld hang on better. So I didn't clean it up and smooth it out. Okay, here we go. So I got it all cleaned up and as much JB weld as I can get in there, and I've got my blocks back in, my bands are tight, and I can just barely move these blocks. So I'm going to put this valve spring shim underneath here just to keep anything that if I start squeezing it, if it starts to ooze out up to the top, it isn't going to stick anything together, hopefully. Put that there. Put more grease on everything because I only want the glue where it needs to be and hopefully nowhere else. So apply a little bit of grease on the threads. Put a little bit more on. Draw this nut down and let everything cure, and hopefully the Loctite sets up and the JB weld sets up, and tomorrow it'll be ready to go. And the O-ring did a good job of keeping it from oozing out and getting on my precision blocks, so far everything is good. So I don't know if that's the normal procedure or not, but that's the way we did that one. Thank you for watching. Happy holidays.